Number 8. Welcome back to the show. Hope you're good wherever you may be. Gonna let people trickle in nice and slowly before we jump on in. For this, except ba ba da ba da ba 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 da ba da ba. Let's pause this motherfucker before he starts rabbiting on too far. Can we actually pause this? Here we can. I wonder what portion of people actually watch these little in between article videos in the third person. Anyway, I wonder. God damn it. Let's have a little check, see. Make sure everything's working as it should be. Okay, ready to roll that. Ready to roll. Look at these ads as well. See what it says here. Yeah, I wonder how many people actually watch these little in-article video things. I imagine they're mostly a marketing tool for companies who want to advertise to get their stuff played, and then you can kind of fob the numbers, because I'd imagine that's what they're for, right? If you're in a marketing team and you want to kind of sell more ads on your site, you can basically say that you got a certain amount of impressions, but mostly they're coming through the autoplay videos, which the cover company doesn't know about. You know, it's a clever technique to kind of get around stuff. Oh, what's up, JB? Hope you're doing well, JB Burt. What's good? What's good? What's good? What do we have here? We have one piece of pretty good, decent, happy, glad, over the moon information for myself and people who live in the UK. This is courtesy of inews.co.uk. They say the following: UK has enough COVID-19 vaccines in order to reach every adult by the end of June, which I think for most people, we were always under the assumption that this was always a plan anyway, especially when you consider there was no real, zero COVID plan. There wasn't really any kind of idea to get around this stuff without a vaccine. So now that we've got an approved vaccine and we have some sort of path out, if we can vaccinate everybody before the end of June, fair plays, which will mean that we'll be back to some level of normality by the end of the year, right? That's a kind of optimistic goal even, right? Most likely it'll be by the middle of summer, but by the end of the year we should be pretty much okay, which is for all intents and purposes, I think it's very good. But just imagine where we would have been in the UK if we didn't have a vaccine. What would we been doing right now? Be some dark times, man. There'll be importing them over from, or exporting them over from flipping Pajiggy from America. That wouldn't have been a good idea. So it says the following: the UK will have enough vaccines to get us at least one jab to every Briton at the end of June, while giving 2 doses to the most vulnerable, ministers believe. Matt Hancock confirmed on Friday that he has set a beginning of May as a target for all 50s to get their first dose of the vaccine, but a more ambitious timeline is possible, with 100 million doses of COVID AstraZeneca jab scheduled to be delivered in the first half of the year, including around 20 million doses from Pfizer and several million more from Moderna. That means that the UK will have more than enough vaccines to supply to cover 53 million adults in 5 months. Ministers have also announced a new scheme to produce 10 millions of new vaccines specifically designed to tackle the mutations later this year. The government has refused to publish details of the expected vaccine supply, and number 10 insider, sorry, warned that they should be disrupted, facing a rollout to slow down. However, last year, Kate Bingham, chair of the UK Vaccine Task Force, told UK ministers she expected 100 million doses of AstraZeneca to be developed in the first half of 2021. Mayday. Health Secretary has repeatedly described supply as a rate-limiting factor, which determines the maximum pace of the vaccine rollout, and believes the NHS will be able to scale up its operations in line with increasing supply. The current rate of 3 million a week needs only a small boost to hit the goal of reaching the whole community by the end of June. Even respond considering the start of giving the second dose to those who already have one. And number 10 source says, depending on supplies, we're hopeful that vaccines will roll out and accelerate, but as with all highly complex programs, it is possible that things could change. So yeah, man, I'm happy to see that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Thankfully, that is going to change. We are going to be able to go back outdoors and enjoy our normal and interesting lives that we led before this god-forsaken virus came down and smited us. What else do we have here? Then we have this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? The crazy lady on the right. I'm intrigued by her. I really am. I'm super intrigued by her. More so because she just exists, right? She was a former, what was she? She was a former CrossFit affiliate owner, if I'm not mistaken. That's kind of where I kind of know her from briefly. And then she somehow landed in politics, which is, standard route for most people that work in. Why is it doing this? Why is it giving me warnings? What's the warnings about? What have I done wrong? Skipped frame. Am I skipping frames? Why is it skipping frames? Oh man, OBS detector skipped frame 3 minutes ago. What does this mean? Some frames have been encoding, lower encoding rate. Ensure that you have enough applications open at heavy CPU. Okay, cool. Let me make sure I don't have anything else running. This is getting annoying now. What is it running at the background? Nothing else in there. That's it. Okay, cool. Well, it's still saying I'm skipping encoding. It's all red and stuff. Nothing else is going on in the background, is there? Let's get rid of this. Force quit that. Let's see what else we can force quit. Let me force quit this. Hopefully that works. Okay, no, it should be good. So yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I am intrigued by this young lady. Very much intrigued. She's one of the only out there QAnon supporters who are in some level of government in America. It seems like for the most part, the reaction to her has been pretty universal, right? Everyone for the most part hates her, which I think is pretty interesting. I like that she's a bit of a kook. Obviously, some of her beliefs are a little bit on the fringe side. Let's just say that. What she called the Sandy Hook shootings a false flag. She says the Clinton eat babies, the standard crazy conspiracy theories things that you hear on various forums around the world. But to hear somebody that's meant to be like a congresswoman, you deem them to be a little bit more how do you say, considered in the way they speak when it comes to these sort of things. But not old Marjorie. So this is from 3 days ago, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, congresswoman, is facing expulsion, and of course this is due to her more racier content that had spilled all over the internet. It says Democrats have introduced a resolution to strip pro-Trump Republican lawmaker of her committee assignments over her past posts on social media. Marjorie Taylor Greene has embraced conspiracy theories, included that of school shootings and 9/11s were staged. The group of Democrats that filled the resolution called it a line in the sand moment for the Republican Party. The Georgian congresswoman last month introduced a measure attempting to impeach U.S. President Joe Biden. She tweeted on Monday that if Democrats remove me from the committees, I can ensure them that the precedent they are setting will be used extensively against members of their side once we regain majority in 2020, and we will regain the majority, make no mistake about that. Elected to Congress in November, Ms. Greene has assigned to the Education and Labour Committee and the Budget Committee by House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. So she's not been in the job long, right? She's only got elected in November, and she's already ruffling this much feathers. What this is basically proof of is, the Democrats were likely going to make sure that they punished anybody and everyone that was around Donald Trump's orbit during his presidency, especially those that were kind of diehard Trumpistans or Trumpians or whatever that word is called. And she unfortunately was one of these people that had to basically bite the bullet. And then when her post came out from her social media, from ages ago, and videos and stuff of her saying some wild shit, it was only going to go one way, right? They were only going to make sure that they voted to remove her from a seat. It says here, how are they trying to push Greene? Democrats contend that because of her past remarks, she has forfeited her right to join these panels, particularly the education community. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a Florida Democrat who is leading the resolution, said if Republicans won't police their own, the House must step in. The resolution was co-sponsored by two Democrats, Ted Deutsch of Florida, and Jana Hayes of Connecticut. On Monday, House Democratic Majority Leader Steny Hoyer delivered an ultimatum to Mr. Coffey, calling to him to remove Miss Greene from the two committees within 72 hours. So, they were pretty much putting on the heat, telling her, look, this is it. We want you out. Get the hell out of here, woman. We think you're a psycho. And then, of course, she wanted to sing for her dinner, so she got up on the pulpit and decided to beg for some sort of forgiveness. And this is what she had to say. And again, I'm not a big believer in these things. I think no matter what you do, especially if you're more on the divisive end, you should probably just embrace it and not apologize. I think apologies do nothing to help to heal whatever wounds that may be exposed with your behavior. I think the people that don't like you are never going to like you. So essentially, you're not really apologizing to the people that you think you're apologizing to. So you probably might as well just keep it to yourself and just try and deflect, deny, deflect, and hope you have the opportunity to live to fight another day. But this is what she had to say in order to save her job.
You see, here's the real situation. I decided to run for Congress because I wanted to help our country. I want Americans to have our American dream. I want to protect our freedoms. This is what I ran for Congress on. I never once said during my entire campaign, QAnon. I never once said any of the things that I am being accused of today during my campaign. I never said any of these things since I have been elected for Congress.
Hear that little detail? Since. Clever woman.
These were words of the past, and these things do not represent me. They do not represent my district, and they do not represent my values.
So, of course, that didn't work, because with the next headline, people heard what she had to say. They were like, okay, cool, whatever. And then, bam, Marjorie Taylor Greene, U.S. votes to strip Republican of key posts. So all that talking and singing for her supper did absolutely nothing, because they just pulled out the receipts. They were like, look, man, you're not a nice person. We don't really like you, too tough. And they just kicked her the hell out. This is a video, I think, compiling some of her previous, is it videos? Is it all in one? Let's see if this loads up.
I was allowed to believe things that weren't true, and I would ask questions about them and talk about them. And that is absolutely
look at the master got on free speech.
what I regret.
Hey everyone, this is Marjorie Greene, and I want to wish you all a happy New Year's. How do you get avid gun owners and people that support the Second Amendment to give up their guns and go along with anti-gun legislation? How do you do that? Maybe you accomplish that by performing a mass shooting into a crowd that is very likely to be conservative.
Jesus Christus. Those things are pretty much okay to say those kind of things when you're just a regular civilian, but then when you become a politician, you'd imagine, like, she probably just didn't have the money to kind of scrub stuff like that off from the internet, or the access to the people that could do something like that, because, 2017 she was saying these wild shit. It's not even like she was saying it in 2007. 2017 was not that long ago. She should have had somebody, her daughter or someone within her team, just to kind of help her scrub a bit of that stuff off the interweb, because Jesus. And this looks like her antagonizing or following that David Hogg kid. He's another one, I think, from Sandy Hook, right? Another a victim who is that a victim? Was he a victim of the show, or was he there? I'm not too sure, but he's involved in it somehow. This is him, I guess, walking somewhere, and she's basically following him around and doing what batshit crazy people do, shouting stuff at him.
And how do did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at school.
Look at this little white lady just following this guy around, just like, leave him alone, man. What's wrong with this lady?
He has nothing to say because there really isn't anything to say, you guys. He has nothing to say because he's paid to do this.
I truly believe
Wow.
children at school should never be left unprotected.
Wow.
You see, school shootings are absolutely real. And every child that is lost, those families mourn it.
But we had witnessed 9/11, right? We had witnessed 9/11. The terrorist attack in New York, and the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania, and the so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd. There's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon.
I
love how crazy she is. Honestly, I don't know why, but I really appreciate somebody that just like operates on the fringes and doesn't give a crap, embraces all of these like wacko conspiracy theories and just talks about them as if they're stone cold fact. Because why not? What makes you to what makes you to believe that, you know, what we are seeing, the reality that we are basically ingesting, is any kind of representative of what's actually going on, right? Who are we to judge? Who are we to judge what reality is best fitting certain people's way of looking at stuff?
to tell you, 9/11 absolutely happened.
Crazy.
I remember that day crying all day long, watching it on the news. And it's a
This is a pretty good supercut. They're just supercutting all the times that she said crazy batshit stuff and the times that she went on the pulpit, of course, in front of the Congress and tried to kind of fight for her supper. She's wild, exactly. Yeah, she definitely is.
for anyone to say it didn't happen. And so that I definitely want to tell you, I do not believe that it's fake.
And then it was too late, mate. They voted to remove her from 2 committees.
I remain profoundly concerned about House Republicans' leadership acceptance of extreme conspiracy theorists. Particularly disturbing is their eagerness to reward a QAnon adherent, a 9/11 truther, a harasser of child survivors of school shootings.
Have you guys been following 4chan, Q, any of that stuff? Q is a patriot. We know that for sure, but we do not know who Q is. Basically, the deep state is fighting back against President Trump, the loyal people in his administration, and the American people.
Well, she's not wrong, you know. She definitely isn't wrong. We definitely saw that happening with this recent election, right? We definitely saw a concerted effort from all sides of entertainment, media, to ensure that Joe Biden won, right? They weren't going to let the mistake of Hillary Clinton happen ever again, right? I think they didn't really take him seriously in that first election. They kind of thought it was going to be a bit of a gimme. Hillary was definitely going to beat Trump, and then they made sure they did everything in their power to get him out of that White House. No one wanted to give him a second term because they knew if they give Trump a second term, you know how bad he was effectively, right? And you know how much shit he talked in his first term. Just imagine if he was able to survive an impeachment, canceling this and that, and be able to hold a seat in the White House. Just imagine how he would have been. Just imagine how sure of himself he would have been at that point. He would have made sure and reminded you at every single point of just how powerful he was if that was the case. Trust me.
What shall we do as Americans? Shall we stay divided like this? Will we allow the media that is just as guilty as QAnon of presenting truth and lies to divide us?
She's not wrong.
Will we allow ourselves to be addicted to hate and hating one another?
She's not wrong, but it's too late. You know, she really isn't wrong. She really isn't wrong, but it's definitely too late. Again, I'm interested because I think, obviously, if Trump was in the White House, she'd be perfectly fine. I think this is basically the new version of Republicans. It looks like. I don't think you're going to be able. I don't think whoever runs next in 2024 is going to have to embrace these sort of like far right conspiracy theorist kind of viewpoints or talking points, whatever they may be, in order to win, because that base is used to all this stuff, right? They're used to being riled up in this way. They're not going to respond to, well, I think, to just like conventional conservative talking points. I don't think so. What do I know? Because I'm not really, that clued into politics. But I'd imagine if you do want to run and have a chance, you're definitely going to have to espouse some of this stuff, but maybe do it in a more polished modern, sort of a suave, sophisticated way, and make it seem kind of, or make it appear to be somewhat more palatable than what this Marjorie Taylor Greene made, because I don't think she was able to kind of get it across in the best way possible. And I think in general, anyway, that whole group of people just probably just, you know, fumbled the bag in the most extent. But, you know, it's over for her, it looks like, right? So this is the U.S. representative have voted to expel Republican congresswomen from 2 committees over the incendiary, how do you pronounce that word? Incendiary remarks she made before being elected last November. Marjorie Taylor Greene was promoted baseless QAnon conspiracy theories and endorsed violence against Democrats. Before the vote, she said she regretted her views, which included claims that the shootings and 9/11 were staged. 11 Republicans joined the Democrats to pass the motion by 230 to 199. It means that the representative who was elected last November only, so she's been kicked out super quickly, cannot take up her place in education and budget committees. This would limit her ability to shape policy, and most legislation goes through a committee before reaching the House floor. Committee positions can determine the influence of individual lawmakers in their party. It's highly unusual for one party to intervene to another House party. On Friday, Ms. Greene said she woke up laughing at the situation. She said, "I woke up early this morning literally laughing, thinking about what a bunch of morons the Democrats are for giving someone like me free time." She tweeted, referencing the 11 Republicans who voted to remove her. At a news conference in Washington hours later, Ms. Greene said that the Democrats had stripped my districts of their voice by removing her from the committee. She describes the Democrat-run government as tyrannically controlled and denounced the up-and-coming Senate impeachment trial of Donald Trump. Overall, his role as a sixth of riots as a circus. The lawmaker also criticized the media for adding people to hate. So, hey man, you know, she chose her bed, she lay in it, she hitched her ride along the Trump train. He failed, he lost, and now she's out there in the wilderness flailing around in the air trying to grab onto any sorts of power that she can. It's a bit sad to watch, don't get me wrong, but there is a part of me that kind of likes it. I kind of like seeing this chaos. I quite like seeing this absolute madness going on, you know, politicians trying to get a grips with what she's saying and why it doesn't make sense and why they should be upset about it and wrangling around and trying to strip her of her powers. I think it's all a big fun circus. Next, what do we have here? Good news on RCL. Oh, this is, we're talking about, isn't it, already, the vaccine, about going forward. Let's move along that one. Oh yeah, this is it. Prevented the tragedy. Yeah, this is a pretty freaky accident, right? A pretty freaky accident. I guess it's some sort of road rage. Somebody was overpassing someone, you know, on the street somewhere, and then the driver in front decided to let the driver know that they weren't too pleased with their actions, and this is what they wanted to do in response. So just watch this. So if you're describing it, there's a car, it's overtaking one sort of SUV type car, I guess, and then the car behind it gets angry and sort of follows him, whoever's in the car, and wants to enact some retribution. And look at this, like, oh, and he somehow breaks his leg. It looks like, I think his leg is fractured or broken, trying to kick a passing car that's coming behind his left hand shoulder. You know how insane that is? Look at that. I think he breaks it. If you look at it clearly, I think it snaps, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Why did he think he could? Oh, Jesus Christ. What did he think he was going to do? Legitimately, what did he think what was the plan here? Was the plan to just to kick it and do what? Leave a dent? And then his leg ended up getting completely splayed to one side and he's just hopping and absolutely brutal. Oh, that looks broken to me, man. I don't know about you guys, but that looks simply broken to me. Holy shit. I think it's broken. I legit think it's broken. Hold on, let me see this. Let me see this again. He comes out of the car as the car's approaching. Stop it. Oops. Yeah, it's definitely broken, right? Doesn't it look broken to you? I think it does. Okay, let's pause it. Oh, yeah, it's definitely snapped. Something's happened to it. It's fractured or something, yeah. As you see him get up, you saw the knee wobble a little bit. And yeah, his leg is crushed. It's definitely gone. God damn it, man. And now we can't carry on driving, can he really? His foot's fucked. He can't even put his foot on the pedals. Oh. Honestly, man, there must be something about cars, right? There must be something about cars in general that draw people to this level of extent. I don't know what it is. I don't drive, so I'm not really have any knowledge of this. But it must be something about sitting in a metal vehicle, hurling down the street at ungodly miles per hour that kind of heightens your sense of fight or flight. And you just get set off by any little thing, kind of like ticks you off, and you take it as like a threat to your life because you know how fragile your life hangs in the balance, right? One false move and you could be tumbling, off the side of a cliff somewhere and having your head crashed in as it lands at the bottom. So you're very finely attuned to it. Maybe that's the reason why people get into these weird road rage things, but I just have never really understood it. It's kind of really baffled me, especially this type, like where they think the human is gonna somehow beat up the car. Like, what are you gonna do? This isn't Street Fighter. Is it Street Fighter, right? That there's a scene in Street Fighter where you can kind of smash the car up and get points and shit. This isn't Street Fighter. This is real life. Real life, you try and kick a car that's moving, especially at that speed, you're most likely you're gonna lose. You know what I mean? And he's definitely proof of that. You're definitely going to lose. Holy shit, that was amazing. Next one. We have a man goes off on neighbor who didn't clean up a dog. Yeah, this is one of my favorites of this week, actually. Easy one of my favorites. So play it for you. So I guess it's some sort of dispute between neighbors. Some sort of dispute between neighbors, and I guess there's a thing that happens if you live in a residential area. People that have dogs, they tend to just not pick up their own dog mess, which I'd never really understood. Because I don't, especially if you live in a residential area. If you get into a park somewhere, I get the idea of just keeping it moving. Someone's probably going to clean up, even though you shouldn't do that. But if you live in a residential area, and you know people are going to be walking around the streets and shit, like, you might as well just pick up the dog poop, right? It makes complete sense. So I guess this guy decided to install some sort of surveillance camera outside of his home because, for some reason the dog had picked out the front of his porch as the place that they wanted to dump, and the owner would refuse to just pick it up, and had a very good way of making sure he could let the owner know of his displeasure.
Clean up your dog poop. Excuse me, ma'am. Hey, you, clean up your dog poop. Stop letting your dog poop on my lawn.
What a legend.
I have you on video. Come pick up this nice pile of shit that your dog left in my yard. I've been waiting for you for 2 days. You. Disgusting. Disgusting. Look at it. I have children here. That's your dog. Please pick it up. This will be every day.
And you know what's awful about it? Fair enough, the guy's being obnoxious, but isn't that awful that she has the flipping doggy bags in her pocket? So it's not like she doesn't even have them with her. She just chooses not to get them out. So she brings them, but then would rather not pick them up and just do what? Like, some people, man. But I guess the thing that is more of a dickhead move is that she had them on her person, goes out knowing she's not going to pick them up, but then has them on her so that she can't look like a cunt, right? It's like a reverse psychology thing, isn't it, right? How can I be... It's like people who shoplift, but then say they have the money for it. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. Like, here, I'll just pay now, and they give you the cash. No. You don't give me the cash now. You are going to leave without the item, without paying for the item. Now that I've caught you, suddenly the cash is important. If the cash was important, then you would have just paid for it. Like, ugh.
I watch you every day. I have you on video. Pick up after your dog.
Jesus
Please
Christ.
pick up after your dog. Please pick up after your dog. Thank you for picking up the feces from my yard. I appreciate it greatly. Greatly appreciate it. Please leave my yard. You're trespassing.
He's such a
Get off
cunt.
my yard, you and your dog. Thank you very much. Thank you for being a courteous neighbor. Thank you for picking up your dog feces, ma'am. Thank you.
What a legend. What an absolute legend, man. Absolute legend. There's probably nothing worse. I remember for a short period of time, we used to have these really kind of crappy neighbors that we used to live. They used to live next to us. And for some reason, at first it was maybe a weird, when you live in poverty-stricken areas, people just, have all these weird things and battles. I don't know. There's always strange. Anyway, I guess any residential area, there's always these strange little wars, right? Whether it's with the bins, your car, where you leave your bike, how you close your doors. People always have these little power struggles. I don't know what it is. Maybe because people are just pissed off in their own lives, but there are always these little wars that are happening. And with those little wars, I remember there was this one neighbor we had that used to constantly like chuck over the cat litter from whatever, or sometimes dog poop, whatever, right, over the top of our gardens. It used to be a constant thing. And then I think at one time, I think we had the assumption that it was some sort of racist attack, right? That they were somehow reminding us of our blackness by throwing over these bits of dog shit over the fence. But then little by little, we got to realize that it was probably just them not wanting to clean it, and it literally just scooping it up over our fence. And then we caught them doing it, and that's especially what it was. They didn't want to chuck in the bin or touch it, so they'd rather just scoop it over the fence and have it land wherever it landed on us, and then kind of continue their day. Some people are just the most. Some people can be so inconsiderate, like really inconsiderate. And again, the terriblest of neighbors. This woman's probably one of the worst ones. You're going out purposely knowing you're going to take your dog out for a shit, and then you take the bags with you knowing you're not going to pick it up, so if someone else can kind of deal with it. Horrendous. But yeah, big of this neighbor. Like you did it, said, yeah, he came out in his PJs too. He's not playing around. He's not playing no games. So big up him with the horn, everything, man. Absolute legend. Then we got this one, man. Mad his pawn shop one. Yeah, this is funny, a little bit funny, but also it kind of makes me a bit sad. I have to be completely honest. There's nothing worse than seeing people in pain, like seeing people really like. It's like, have you ever been in the shop and you see somebody? Let me just play a little bit of it. Have you ever been in the shop and you see somebody shoplifting? Right? Have you ever been in when someone's actually done it and some security guards confronting them? It's never as funny as when you're seeing it on a video sometime. So maybe sometimes people, it's never funny seeing somebody, but whatever, you know what I mean, right? It's funnier when you're not there and you're kind of disconnected and you're just watching it on your phone. When you're actually in the shop itself and you're seeing somebody getting, gripped up by a security guard and, shooken from their shoulders, and then bits of flipping lamb chops are falling on the floor, it kind of just makes you feel, oh man, they really need that. If they're trying to come into Tesco's to steal a flipping burger patty and a couple of buns, then they probably need to eat something, right? They're probably starving. So it just makes you feel a bit bad. You feel like you wish you could help them, but nothing really you can do in that respect. But then when you watch it on video, it's always a bit more funnier. So this is a hilarious video because if you've ever been to a pawn shop, right, you would know the struggle and the beef that exists between people that are bringing stuff and the people that deal with it behind the counter. There's always a sense of, I guess, expectancy, right? That you're kind of coming into that store with. If you're going to pawn something, you're sort of like hoping that this is your meal ticket, whether it's like, something you've stolen or something that you own. And then when you get, and then so there's that weird tension that exists between the person at the till. I don't know why it happens. I don't know. Maybe it's the nature of the game because of the stuff that's in there, but you have to be a certain type of person to work in a pawn shop, and you have to be a certain type of person to bring something into a pawn shop for you to get money from, right? And it's that weird struggle. So this guy decided to bring some stuff to exchange, and the one thing he brought with him was marbles, and he kind of got told where to go from there on.
Bro, I can't help you. You gotta go.
This is a gold chain.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It has aquamarine on there.
Bro, you gotta go.
It's step
You gotta go.
14K, you dumb fucking
Get out of
piece
here.
Shit.
You gotta go.
It's 14K.
Yeah, I can tell.
You're a fucking idiot, dude.
Have a great day.
Better than yours gonna be. I don't have to live like an idiot like you.
Don't forget your marbles.
I'm sorry, but someone bringing in marbles to a shop to go and trade is probably one of the most iconic things I'd ever see. That's something that you'd tell your grandkids, honestly. That time you worked in the pawn shop and some guy tried to bring in marbles that he waited to swap for cash. You're like, what? What the fuck is going on here? Please play. Oh, it's stopping. What's happening? What's happening? Please.
Marbles.
Oh. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, I think that might be it. But just imagine the level of pain that must exist for somebody to go to a pawn shop and bring a marble and just try and play it off as some sort of 14 karat gold number. Just imagine what they've been going through Just imagine how much they're struggling. Just imagine how much their belly is rumbling for that to be a technique. Again, it could just be that, or it could just be, this is a flipping meth addict wanting to make sure he has enough money and funds to live to fight another day. But Jesus Christ, man, look at this. Oh, it doesn't play. It's not playing anymore sometime. Oh, man, I wish I could get it to load again. Let's refresh this. Oh, what an absolute legend. Honestly, what a legend. Is it going to play more? Yeah, it is. Let's go. Oh.
I'm not gonna live like an idiot like you.
Don't forget your marbles.
Fuck you. You're a fucking piece of shit, dude. If I come in here wearing a suit and tie, you're gonna treat me differently.
No, absolutely not. You just
You see that? If I came in with a suit and tie, you would treat me differently for bringing in marbles. This guy is absolutely insane.
spit on yourself, you idiot.
Oh. What a legend, man.
He did spit all the way though.
Oh, but COVID times, isn't it, man? People are really going through it, man. I don't like to see people like this, but Jesus Christ, the pain you have to be going through to bring marbles to a pawn shop must be another level. And then, oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is from like a few years back, or maybe a couple of years ago, or a year ago. A fight between, it looks like some sort of version of a crackhead. Somebody that probably needs the money to buy some Class A substances, let's just say that, and get into a fight with a security guard. It's just interesting to see the levels of the levels of restraint needed in a situation, and also the license that he the license that the security guard feels like he has to just completely manhandle this woman because he has a security guard license. Like, if there's some part of me thinks if there's ever guys that exist out there that enjoy hitting women, right, he shouldn't be doing it anyway, right? But if there's guys out there that take pleasure in assaulting and manhandling women, working security for like a convenience store or pharmacy will probably be the perfect job for you, because you get basically a free pass to just manhandle and push around and trip up and sit on and choke women for the most part without much retribution, because you're trying to make sure, what's it called, you work in loss prevention, right? So this is the exchange.
Start kicking.
He hurt me in the parking
You shoplifted. You don't.
So do you hear that bit, right? Something what he took me from the parking lot. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's different in America, but in the UK, usually if you work security, you don't get any you don't have any permission or license or rights or whatever it may be to go and follow the person outside the store. So that's why most of the time they have to ensure that they catch the people in the act on the premises. Once they leave the front door, that's it, right? It's a matter for the police. They don't have any jurisdiction to run across the street and chase you down the road or whatever. And it's odd because America, for the most part, they have guns, right? We don't have guns here. So you'd imagine there's probably more risk and danger to your life to go and chase down a shoplifter that's coming to steal, something worth the value of $45, whatever, right? They probably, are willing to do just about anything to get that stuff outside the store than it is to come and steal in the UK, where the only thing you have to kind of look out for is maybe a knife or something, right? Still deadly, don't get me wrong, but, far less deadly than a gun. So it's really odd that security guards in America, for some reason, seem to be really amped up and ready to go and chase people down the street and shit. It's just a bizarre thing, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they get bonuses.
Shoplifting, now you're kicking me. Go ahead and watch what
hurt
happens.
me in the parking lot.
Look at that. We gave her one warning.
Oh, yeah.
My arm.
I did. I sure
Second
did.
warning, right?
Oh, really? I'm going to take you down for that now.
Holy shit. That's mad aggressive. I swear to God, that's mad aggressive.
Stop it! Stop it!
And no offense though, right? If you're a man and you can't subdue a woman of this size who looks like she's maximum 60 kilograms, if maybe less than that, and he's really struggling and having to use all of his man strength to kind of semi keep her down, then you probably should look for another job.
Ma'am, you need to chill.
You need to chill out.
You need to chill.
Man, stop it! Stop it!
You need to calm down.
Stop it!
Let him go.
No!
Stop.
No!
Can you let him go?
No!
No. Let him go. I told her.
I'm working.
So the other women are coming in to try and save the woman's arms and backs.
I'm working. She's working.
I think they all seen enough in it. It's just too much violence occurring there for them to be happy with. Hold on, let's just refresh that, please. I need to see that again. Oh my god, he was absolutely ripping her to pieces on the floor there.
Let's let it go! I told her, okay? Let's
I'm working. I'm working. She's working. Do you know her? Do you know her?
let her go.
Let me go!
No.
And then the classic, this is one of the great things about being a female shoplifter. If you do get into this predicament, you can always just, start crying hysterically, shaking, convulsing, faking you have a panic attack. There's loads of things that you can kind of play to your strength, play to your favor, in order to make sure somebody kind of lets you go and kind of gives you a warning or slap on the wrist. When you're a dude, you have no recourse. You can't. What can you do? Pretend to faint? Like, there's not much you can do to get out of this in that situation. You kind of just have to ride it and hope the cops don't take you to jail and just give you a stern telling off at the store.
Crack's a hell of a drug.
Go ahead.
I will let someone else
I'm a little barbecue, please.
step away from me now.
No.
Yes!
I work here. So no.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Look how heavy he's breathing. Honestly, I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. Look at this. It's honestly one of the maybe the best and legendary Karen videos that exist. It has to be definitely up there in one of the greatest hits for sure. Oh, this is a legend. This is actually a new one from the other day, right? Police arrest anti-mask Karen for trespassing. So let's reload this and get this loaded up. This is a good one too. I just tell me here, skip frames. Okay. Yeah, this is another one. Let's get this one up. Come on, load. Yeah, this one's pretty much one of the most stellar new Maskless Karen videos. She goes on an absolute rampage, which I don't really blame them for, to be honest, considering what's going on in the world. You just kind of want to feel alive, you know? You want to feel pumped, ready to go, get the blood circulating. She already looks like she's, I don't know, chewing on her gums, baked off or something. Who knows? But she doesn't look like she's the most stable of a person.
Law. What's the federal law that prevents me from wearing a face mask? Federal law. Oh, I can't wait to see you wearing a face mask. Federal law. Oh, I can't wait to see your ass. Oh! Illegal, sir! Illegal!
Look at this lady. Oh, let's get her in good clear screen. Come on. Come on, let's improve that. Let's get her. She's amazing. She's one of the best Karens ever. Oh, what's happening here? Okay, I'll have to put it back down to 480. Bear with.
Store policy. They can ask you to leave.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is it a law? What's the federal law that prevents me from wearing a face mask? Federal law.
Not federal.
Okay,
State
so
law.
you don't know.
State order.
No, the law, right?
State order.
No. The law, because I'm going to get your badge number and I'm going to sue you as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone's
So
getting
what is
sued.
the
You get
federal
sued. He
law
gets
You
sued.
to leave for any reason.
that prevents me from wearing a face mask?
They don't have to provide you service.
Do they serve the public? Do I pose any threat medically or physically?
They don't know that.
Okay, so you don't know that. So I am being
A business
escorted
can
out
refuse
here
your service
because why?
for
Because
any reason
when
they want.
Just imagine for a second, right? This is someone's mum, right? Someone's grandma, someone's wife, someone's daughter, sister, auntie, or whatever. leaving their home, knowing full well the mask mandate that most supermarkets have, and going out of their way to just cause a scene just for the sake of it, because they want to prove a point to their 16 Facebook followers in the anti-mask group that they have on Facebook somewhere. Just think of the logic that person is suffering from, or lack of logic they're suffering from. But then there's also a part of me that thinks, you know what, I kind of get it. You know, you kind of want to feel alive, right? We're living in probably one of the most uneventful times that's ever existed, right? For the most part, you watch the news, you get constantly fed the same diatribe. People are dying left, right, and center. It's either the worst thing in the world, or it's either the most overcooked thing in the world regarding different sources that you maybe check up on. There's no real way out unless you live in Florida or other key places. So you're just thinking you're going to be an eternal spinning hamster wheel of just misery and pain. So you decide to yourself, you know what? I'm going to go out to my local supermarket and I'm going to make myself feel alive. I'm going to come to life. I'm going to go out there without a face mask and just kick up a bit of a storm. Get the police to calm down. Make me feel alive again, right? Get those goosebumps tingling all over my skin. The hairs on my back standing on end. I kind of understand it. It's pretty much batshit crazy, right? It's proper wacko job level ways of thinking. But I understand the need, especially for these middle-aged women who kind of, you know, they've done everything they need in life. They've popped out a couple babies, ride through a couple of affairs, you know, beaten a prescription drug addiction. They've gotten over their little friendship group that they were in, and now they've decided to fight the good fight and go to these supermarkets and accost people who are earning $7.19 per hour.
Because I pose what kind of threat?
They have a policy here. They're
Is it a federal law?
They're following the
Federal
state
law.
mandate.
It's not.
Mandate
Mandate and a law, two different things.
This is private property.
No. Do they serve the public?
What do you need, her ID?
Yes.
You have your ID?
No. I'm not giving you my ID.
Okay, then you gotta come with us.
Let's follow us.
No. Don't.
Yes?
Don't
Miss?
touch me.
Imagine going to have to like take your mum out of bookings for this, right? They call her phone and they have to go and pick your mum up in a car. Like, how embarrassed you would be. Like, she probably got arrested, during the lockdown, 10 times? 12 maybe? Like, Jesus.
No.
Put your hands behind your back. Relax.
No.
You can keep recording all you want, but we're gonna put it in your purse.
You want to put cuffs on or not?
Yep, you're gonna
Don't
need
touch my phone. Don't touch my phone. I'm relaxed. Come on, let's walk out. Ooh. No.
Stop resisting.
Oh, no, there's no resistance.
You are pulling away from us.
Oh,
That is
no, I'm
resisting.
not.
You are trying to get free. That is resisting.
Is there something to be said if she was a black lady, she would have got a couple of bullets to the side of her face already? Or am I exaggerating?
Oh, I can't wait to see your ass.
Okay.
I can't wait to sue you.
Oh, I can't wait to see your
They love a good lawsuit in America, don't they, huh?
ID.
Oh, trust and believe, honey.
Provide your ID.
Oh, no. Because
Okay, well, don't then.
no, because I didn't commit any.
It's not your store. It's their store.
They can
but
kick you out for
hold
any.
on. Do they provide service
That
to the
doesn't
public?
matter.
Give me my cell phone.
Miss, stop pulling away from us.
No. Give me my cell phone.
Pulling away from us is resisting.
No. Give me my cell phone. Give me
Everything.
She just have zero respect for the law. I love it. Something tells me, honestly, I wish I could live in the body of a white middle-aged single woman for a couple of days, maybe a week or so, just to feel how they feel, right? The laws of the land do not affect them in any kind of way. They just skirt through life with their chin in the air, jumping over dead bodies and just enjoying themselves, right? Enjoying themselves. They face no repercussions for their actions. There are no consequences for what they do, because what they do is always right. Imagine what that must feel like, just to live in their body for just a couple of days, 24 hours at best. How great that must be. Exhilarating.
my cell phone. No.
Everything's being recorded.
Give me my cell phone.
Most of the time people have interactions with the police, by the way, they're afraid. They're scared for their lives, right? This woman's actually relishing it. Like she's gonna go fight in the Colosseum, right? Like she's a gladiator of some sorts. She can't wait to go and stick it to them and tell them about federal law and threaten them with frivolous lawsuits. She can't wait to let them know who's in charge. Just imagine what that must feel like. Just imagine the power.
Miss, everything's being recorded.
Give me my cell
Please
phone.
put your hands behind your back.
Oh, God.
Mhm.
You're fun, aren't you, Miss?
What? Just put your hands behind your back.
Oh, it was.
You got a purse. Let go of your purse.
Oh, no, where's my cell phone?
We've got
My
it.
cell phone, my federal
Where's my
law.
cell phone?
I have your cell phone.
I want my cell phone.
You'll get it done. Thank you.
Give me my cell phone.
That's what you realize with these people, right? Like it seems like the older they get, it seems like they act very they have a very adolescent way of acting when they're really young. No, sorry, other way around. They act really mature, or they're super like, squares and a bit stuffy when they're younger, right? The kind of person that will be like, telling on you to the landlord if you had a house party or some shit and you had lived in the same home. But then the older they get, they then regress and start acting more like a child. I don't really understand what that's about, right? That's a thing that they actually do. It's really, really strange.
Phone now. My cell phone now. Oh, I can't wait to see the fuck out of you guys.
You ain't gonna sue anybody.
Oh,
should love it.
absolutely. I will.
You're the one in the wrong.
Where's my cell phone?
Where's my cell phone?
Cell phone.
Jesus Christ, this woman.
Where's my cell
I have your
phone?
cell phone.
Just imagine being a police
I want
officer
it
too.
now
This is
in
such a
person.
tiring experience, man.
Absolutely.
Jesus
Thank
Christ.
Oh, dick.
She's
No,
exhausting.
you're the one being bad.
Legit. Oh, illegal search.
I'm not.
Illegal.
You can't have the purse.
Illegal
If you kick me,
search.
you're gonna go to jail.
Illegal.
I'm not searching your purse. I want your purse.
Oh, she got a pair of Uggs on as well. My favorite boots. She got a pair of Uggs on.
Illegal search.
Yes.
Illegal search.
You can't have your purse on
Oh,
On you in the back.
you. Yeah,
oh
we told
my
you that.
God. Where's my cell phone?
We have it.
I want it now. I want my cell phone now. I want my cell phone now.
I'm putting this in your purse.
I want my cell
Let me see
phone
something.
now.
She got this thing wrapped around her.
I want my cell phone.
You're not. You can say it all the time you want.
I want my cell phone now.
I'd have to.
Look how alive she feels though compared to the beginning of this video. She's in her element. This is what she definitely wanted. She was at home chilling, bored out of her brain, watching, Fox News or OAN on loop, and decided, you know what, I'm going to go kick up a fuss because I need to feel alive. She definitely, as annoying as this experience is to her and maybe the police people, she definitely is going to go home and sleep well at night, for sure.
Break the purse. I don't want to break the. I'm gonna handcuff you. You gonna fight with me?
Dude, you are
good.
so in trouble.
I'm not. Trust me. Here, go
You are
ahead.
so in trouble.
I'm not. You are.
Oh, no.
Don't fight with us. I'm gonna take your
Oh,
purse.
I wasn't fighting at you at all.
Yeah, the whole place seen it.
Oh, dude. You are so in trouble.
I'm not worried about it.
I love how, what's this voice she's got now? This dude voice. What's that dude?
I
What's
want
that
my
voice?
cell phone now.
Don't put your. There you go. Thank you.
What are you taking my cell phone for?
I'm gonna put it in your purse.
All right, then give me my purse.
No, your purse is sitting up with us. Put your hands behind your back.
All right.
Back.
Oh
Thank you.
my God.
Jesus
There you go.
Christ, this woman.
You guys are in so much
Can you
trouble.
watch it? See, look at. Put your cell phone in.
You're so in trouble.
No, we're not.
Whoa, that's not mine.
Oh,
That's
you're right.
not
That
mine.
one's mine.
Oh, hell
Yours
no.
is there. See, I had mine in my pocket
What?
too.
I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see
No
it.
problem. That's it.
You go through my cell phone, you're in.
Just imagine being the police officer, man. Just imagine what you have to go through, man. God almighty. Absolute psychopath of a woman, innit? But again, like I said, she felt alive. She's enjoying herself. It looks like for the most part. I don't know. Let's get rid of some of these windows because it keeps telling me that I'm dropping frames. So let's get out of here and get rid of these. But Jesus Christ, what an absolute special type of woman she is, isn't it? Very, very special type of woman. But again, there must be something about the TV and the media that she's watching that's making her think, you know what, I need to go out there and defend people that are working and shopping in these places, because they need to know that federal law tells you can do X, Y, and Z. Federal law, federal law, federal law. So it looks like The Weeknd, one of my favorite artists in the world, has decided to announce that he will be going on tour next year. He might be the first, I think, major artist, actually. Maybe, who's the other one I saw and I mentioned it? No, I think he might be the first. He might be the first that I've seen so far, to basically put it out there and say, hey, I'm going on tour, like it or lump it, I'm going to do something. And I think if you think about it, considering who he's signed to, considering his level of popularity, it would lead me to believe that people behind the scenes are thinking that 2022 could be a time when, you know, events at a large scale, especially in person, can go about. And if you remember, I think I mentioned in a podcast maybe a few episodes ago, or a stream, that I remember reading this account from this dude who was like, you know, somewhere attached to Coachella, and he was saying from last year June, before we even had a vaccine, he was already telling people that you shouldn't look forward to going to Coachella again until 2022 onwards. And he's basically been proven right, because for the most part, Coachella this year has been cancelled. Most of the bigger festivals have been cancelled this year, but there might be some at the end of the year. But for the most part, everyone's thinking from 2022 onwards, that's when we're going to see things going on. So as crazy as it might seem from the outside for The Weeknd to announce this probably is an indication of what's going to happen next year, or kind of what's at the light in the tunnel if you are waiting for live events. And it is quite reassuring to know that, you know, life can return to some level of normality in that time. I think if someone would have told us in late 2019, 2020, that we weren't going to have a live event again until 2022, we probably would have all cried and jumped off a very high building. But now that we've kind of been through this whole pandemic, we've known how serious the issue is, how badly certain governments have dealt with it. It's actually a pretty good result that we've managed to kind of somehow get it down to only having to wait until 2022. It's not too bad if you think about it. It really isn't too bad. So this is a tweet here from The Weeknd. It says, After Hours Tour 2022, which again, I still think After Hours, it maybe didn't get that love that it should have got last year. Last year, yeah, definitely one of my favorite albums of the year. I think because it came out, one of them odd ones that came out at the beginning of the year, so people kind of didn't really give it the love that it should have got. But I think as a solid project, especially considering Kissland that came before that, After Hours was a perfect balance of, like, you know, The Weeknd you know and love from mixtapes era, and obviously the more mainstream version of The Weeknd. Definitely one of my favorites, definitely up there. So he tweeted this After Hours Tour 2022, sorry. And you got here the first image of The Weeknd with some dates here listed down below. What do we have here? So new dates added. I guess this is all over. What has it got? We've got Vancouver, BC, Edmonton. We got Chicago. So he's doing the entire. Oh, he's even got London dates. Okay, awesome. So he's doing all over America. Then if he's coming to Europe, he's going to, the first stop always is Helsinki, Stockholm, Copenhagen, Oslo, Germany, Berlin, Munich, Antwerp, Cologne, Amsterdam. Then 3 dates in London, Manchester, Birmingham, Belfast, Newcastle. 1 more date in London, over to Paris 3 times, Bordeaux, Madrid, wow, Lisbon, Portugal. 1 date, then going to Barcelona, then Montpellier, Milan, Zurich, Budapest, Prague, Krakow, Mannheim, Lyon. Those are a lot of dates, man. Jesus Christos. Those are a lot of dates. He's absolutely going for it. No word of a lie. So yeah, maybe we're going to, so don't be surprised if you see some of the other bigger acts, the Taylor Swifts, the Ariana Grandes, I don't know who else, the Diplos, the Calvin Harrises. They're probably going to announce some stuff too sometime, I guess, soon, because I'm sure their label have probably put together some sort of package or some sort of situation where they can ensure certain venues do rapid testing, or certain venues do you know, have our COVID secure in some way, shape or form. They're definitely going to be put in place. But yeah, North American and world dates coming at you very, very soon. Soon we'll be able to dance around in groups surrounded by strangers very, very soon. What else do we have here? Is it going to load? Oh no. Oh yeah, this is the week. Yeah, this is him explaining it. This is pretty much irrelevant news, I think, because most people kind of understood the thinking behind the art direction of After Hours, right? It was obviously his interpretation of modern day Hollywood life and what it is to be a celebrity and the pressures that are involved and that good stuff. But I guess he had to kind of say out loud to Vulture. Maybe it's part into, maybe it was in part due with his whole announcement of blah 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 the tour. So this is courtesy of Vulture. It says The Weeknd reveals the significance of his full face bandages ahead of the Super Bowl exclusive. And he announces it here. Or the question says, your After Hours character has been increasingly more bandaged up with an entire head bandage at the AMAs and is now eventually post plastic surgery. People have been speculating about it for weeks. What does it symbolize to us mean? He said the significance of the entire head bandage in reflecting on the absurd culture of Hollywood celebrity and people manipulating themselves for superficial reasons to please and to be validated. He says, the question again, can you give an insight into how the bandages fit into your original Bad Night in Las Vegas storyline? He says it's a progression and we watch the character storyline hit heightened levels of danger and absurdity as the tale goes on. What can we take from the fact? He says, I suppose you could take that being attractive isn't important to me, but compelling a narrative, what is that about compelling narrative is. So yeah, pretty self-evident, to be honest. I think we all kind of assumed and knew what the direction was that he was kind of going with this whole After Hours look. We kind of saw what was happening there, but yeah, good to know in general regarding that. Get that off the screen. Oh yeah, this is hilarious. Did you guys see this? Chrissy Teigen getting lit up on the timeline as per usual. She decided it was it made sense for her to bring out this or post this ridiculous post where she basically said, "Oh, what's the most expensive thing you've eaten that you thought sucked?" And then she basically, asked the question, but then answers her own question because she doesn't really care what we have to say. She's just basically using this opportunity to tell us her story. And she says, "Oh, one time, John and I, of course it's John and you, who we wouldn't know you if you weren't married to John. John and I were at a restaurant that the waiter recommended a nice Cabernet. We got the bill and it was $13,000. How do you casually recommend that wine? We didn't realize we finished it and it hadn't even been cleared," right? So this is her kind of, oh, whoops, I ordered something really expensive and it kind of was really embarrassing. And then of course the replies to that were just, really over the moon. And she got ratioed to death. And then people were saying, hey, not everything I say on my Twitter is going to be relatable to you because it's my life and my Twitter and my stories. I see your tweets, I get your jokes, you're so funny. Yes, you really nailed me. So it's just another example of just how detached these people are from the realities of the real world. They're just not really on the same planet as us. So when they sit there and kind of patronize us and say, oh, we're going through the same thing, man. Yeah, we're going through this together. The pain of the lockdown. It's like, no, it's not the pain of the lockdown. If you're reminiscing about dropping 13 grand on a bottle of wine, we're definitely not going through the same thing. We're definitely not going through the same thing for sure. We can definitely leave it at that one. Then, this is the funny news of the day, and this is courtesy of NME. Kanye West faces $330 million in damage from the 2 Sunday services lawsuit. He's accused of breaking employment laws and at the ambitious shows. So obviously, was it last year or the year before that? Maybe it was last year. It was, it feels like a lifetime ago, isn't it? But Kanye was doing his whole Sunday service thing on his ranch, decking out these, choirs and Yeezy branded clothing, clothing that he designed, all outdoors showings and musical performances, medley of like contemporary hits done in a gospel way, a really kind of forward-thinking, interesting way of interpreting and presenting what it is to be in a church, right? A church without walls, a church without a roof, a really kind of new age, quote unquote, way of representing Christianity. And most people like myself were cynical at first. Oh, he's just doing this for a look and da-da-da-da-da. But then, slowly but surely, he kind of committed to the cause. He basically, claimed that he was a Christian rapper, basically did away with profanity, changed most of his musical direction, scrapped maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 albums or 3. Maybe it might have been 2 albums that he were meant to put out before that. And then, did a lot of stuff with the choir, put out an entire gospel album, and for the most part it's been really dedicated to leaning into it and changing his life for the better, because now he's a new born again Christian. And it was always funny to see the videos of him and the choir kind of lapping it all up, because I don't know why, but there was some sort of, you got the impression from looking on the outside in that these people that were singing, clapping and playing instruments and just generally getting down at Sunday service, they somehow felt that they could somehow escape scot-free from the Kanye orbit. And you don't, right? Anyone that's kind of spoken to people that have been surrounded or near Kanye in some way, shape or form, whenever he goes, in his, manic state or does whatever he does when he gets a bit unhinged, it's collateral damage to everybody. Everyone gets impacted in some way, shape or form. There are no victims that come out of this without some bumps and bruises, but you got the impression that the church folk thought they could kind of get the best version of Kanye and also get out of it scot-free without any consequences. And it just doesn't happen that way. You have to face some level of consequences to play that, to kind of dance that close to a flame or to a phoenix, such as Kanye West is. You're going to get burned 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more times. And it's just hilarious to see that these people are now going out and suing this guy when they were, so gleefully happy only a few months ago, dancing around, shuffling from side to side, doing that incredibly cringe James Corden video where they were a carpool karaoke in an airplane, right? It was mostly just, Kanye West and the gang, right? It wasn't really concentrated on the people behind him that were actually singing the songs. But anyway, let's continue. This is from NME. It says Kanye West is facing 2 class action lawsuits and up to 30 million in damages after allegations that he failed to pay up to 1,000 performers and staff at his ambitious Sunday service show. So I also like the fact that he's like maintaining the long storied relationship or long storied tradition of ministers and church leaders and choir leaders of being just absolute scumbags of humans, right? People that would lie, steal and cheat off of the very people that they are trying to bring forward into the choir. They will do just about anything to just fuck over anybody near them, right? He's holding up that tradition. It's a long tradition. It's something I've seen for a long time and in various different gazes, but it's good to see that even on this level, even for somebody like himself, he's still kind of, following down that long path, right, of church leaders who have scammed their constituents. It continues. Lawsuits and according to page 6, relate to 500 performers and 300 backstage workers, who played a role in the rapper's show, which blend Christian worship with live performers. According to the lawsuit, West broke employment laws at the Hollywood Bowl Opera Nebuchadnezzar on November 19th, relating to the performances and the backstage crew, such as the makeup artists and hairstyles. And look at his face. That's the face of somebody that's going to say, yeah, send me your invoice. That's a send me your invoice face, isn't it, right? Send me your invoice. Look at him. Kanye is a legend. The allegations are said to include the failing to pay hundreds of employers on time, not at all, and as well as delivering the overtime wages, meal and rest breaks, and business expenses to which employees were legally entitled to. That's not fair to something that's going to pay you on time, bro. You got to take me to court, bitch. It says that one of the lawsuits filed by LA employment law firm Frank Kim focuses on 500 performers. The other, filed by entertainment attorneys Harris and Rubel, reportedly centers on 300 backstage workers. Jesus Christ. So they get some heavy hitters, right, to represent them because, Kanye is a big name, so they probably can catch a lick off that. Hairstylist Raina Leon and performer Michael Pearson have both represented employees and alleged that they were not paid and failed to secure the rest breaks that they're entitled to. So my man's not paying them. He's working them like slaves. Like, this is poetic, isn't it? This is just like the Kanye that you know and love, innit? The Kanye that you know and love. Pearson also claims that some performers were forced to sit on the floor during 10-hour days because there was not enough chairs provided. Oh my God. According to a source told The Sun, when we do things last minute, it's disorganized. Mistakes will happen. When Kanye West does production, he would just say to his guys, make it happen. He has a different teams of people to do things, and when you're under the amount of pressure, you cut corners. Anything with film or music production, they do the art first. It's a case of let's get the production done and worry if it's legal later. West is yet to comment on the latest lawsuit, but it's just hilarious, man. I find it utterly hilarious that Kanye West is out here doing such a thing, especially when you consider he's meant to be a multi-billionaire. But what can you do? What can you do? What else do we have here? Just refusing to pay people. Do you know what I mean? Just saying, nah, I'm not gonna pay you guys, man. That's not my MO. I'm not the paying type. Oh, what is it? Oh, we're an hour in. Yeah, we're an hour. Let's just end it from there. Anyway, that was Open Tabs number 8. We're an hour in, so I'll leave you guys there for now. Thank you so much for tuning in as per usual. It's been a pleasure to have your company. If it's your first time tuning in, of course, make sure you smash that like button. That'll be greatly appreciated. Obviously, click subscribe and let me know any thoughts and opinions you got on the show via the link down below and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. But thanks again for tuning in to Open Tabs number 8. It's been a pleasure to have your company, and I'll see